And our next speaker has as a subject the search universe. So we can kind of conclude that what we're talking about here, it's big, it's happening, it's huge, it's kind of beyond us at times. So Sam Marsden, would you like to come up and tell us about your search universe?
Good
so
morning.
Sam Marsden, you're here from DeepCrawl, all the way from the UK.
Yeah,
And,
first time over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I said, you're going to talk about the search universe. It's a big topic. You only have about 40 minutes. You're okay with this?
Yeah, I was expecting it to be half an hour, so
You're happy?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
we'll go with that.
But one question before we talk about this big subject. What was the last thing you Googled?
The last thing I Googled was the Blade Runner film, the new one. I don't know if any of you have seen it. Yeah, we got one at least. And it's just interesting to see how search has changed so much in the past few years. And there's no sort of organic search results there. It's all rich snippets now. So yeah, it's just amazing to see how much it's changed. Yeah.
Cool. So, big round of applause to Sam. Have fun.
Thank you. So, good morning, Search Stars. How are you all doing? Good? Cool. So, my first time in Malmo. Got to say I'm really enjoying it so far, and actually learned a lot about Malmo last night with the Topvisible team, and including a bit too much about Swedish sauna culture. It was, yeah, it was a bit too much. So, I'm going to be talking about your search universe, and so we're going to go with a kind of top-level overlook at what the search universe is and how you can build out yours, and also look at a number of different examples that you can use to kind of action this. So, oh, wow, that's a bit blurry. So, is anyone familiar with this graphic? Can we show of hands? We've got one at the back. We've got a few. So this is the Martech 5000, and this shows all of the marketing technology companies, I guess worldwide. So the point I'm trying to make with this is that there are over 5,000 marketing technology companies at the moment, and yeah, there's a ton of data which is coming out of that. If we look down, so this is SEO, so if we drill down into that, you can see that there are over 100 SEO tools available to us as search marketers now. So what that means is we have an astounding amount of data available to us now, and what do we do with it all? So we've probably got access to a number of different number of these tools. So we might have keyword tracking tools, backlink tools. We might have access to log file analyzer tools. So how do we organize this data? So it's very easy just to have all of this information siloed off. So you go to one tool for this information, then you go to another for that, and it all kind of exists separately from each other. So what I'm going to be talking about is how you can bring all of that together and get better insights, but also kind of streamline your workflow. So this is the search universe, and this is a concept that we've come up with at DeepCrawl. And the idea behind it is bringing in data from backlink tools, log file data, organic search data from Google Search Console, and web analytics data from Google Analytics, and yeah, combining that with web crawling information to get better insights from your data. So taking us through today will be our SEO spider called Mr. Deepson. He's kind of like our mascot at DeepCrawl, and he's going to be used for the number of examples that I'm going to show you, which are all going to be from the perspective of one URL. And also there's a Star Wars theme going on here, so continuing a ladies theme earlier. We're going to kind of keep that consistent. So we're going to start off with backlink data and where do backlinks land on your site. So in this example, you can see we've got our information coming through from Majestic. It could be another backlink tool, maybe Ahrefs, but in this example we're going with Majestic. So we've got thousands of backlinks coming into a page, and that's great, but what if that page is 43 levels down on the site? It's only got 3 links coming in, it's not in any sitemaps, and it's got no links going out. So the benefit of this is you've got the backlink data coming in from Majestic, and then with the web crawling information, that will tell you where that sits on your site. Now, if it's 43 levels down, it's not in the best place, so there's some cleanup work to be doing with that. So with this example, so DeepRank is an internal measure of link weight that we use at DeepCrawl, and this point is just to demonstrate that if you've got backlinks coming into high pages, that isn't necessarily a good thing if it's got a low DeepRank. So DeepRank is kind of similar to PageRank. So yeah, and also it's important to point out that not all backlinks are the same. So some are doing your site good, and others are crap that you need to get rid of, really. And there's still, although Google's doing a good job of ignoring the spammy links that are coming into your site, there's still a great amount of work that you can do to disavow these spammy domains. And that's something that you need to keep on top of. So moving on to how backlink authority is distributed. So again, with the example, so you've got Majestic showing you've got thousands of backlinks coming into a page, but if this page has a meta nofollow tag, then it's not going to, so the links, Google isn't going to be crawling the links from that page. So there's a bit of cleanup work to be doing there to maybe remove that nofollow tag if there's no reason to have that there, and allowing that link equity to come in and spread to other pages on your site. And in another example, you might have this page might also be disallowed. That's also something that might require some cleanup work. And that's these are really simple things that you can clean up on your site, and they're often overlooked, and it's something that we see a lot of at DeepCrawl. So yeah, there's some cleanup work to do there. Backlinks to broken pages. So with these images, there's a bit of a connection. Sometimes it's not always clear immediately, but I've tried to keep it relevant. So backlinks to broken pages. Again, thousands of backlinks coming in, but it's going to a 404 page. So this isn't only bad for Google, it's a bad user experience. And it's something that, in this case, you'd either want to restore this page to 200 response code, or you want to redirect it to a relevant page. We've got that as well. So backlinks to duplicate pages is another example. So you might have 2 duplicate pages on your site, and there's just some simple cleanup work to do there to add a canonical tag to your preferred page, and you can make use of all the benefit of those backlinks coming into the duplicate page. So in this case, you've got 1,300 odd backlinks coming in instead of the 876. So with this one, we've got Luke here, and the more keen Star Wars fans among you might say he's not actually an orphan because his dad's still alive. But I'd argue that having Darth Vader as a dad, he's not really a dad anymore. So orphan pages are ones without any links coming in, so no internal links. So what you need to do is assess these pages on a page-by-page basis, and maybe add some internal links to to the page just to let Google know what the page is about. And yeah, again, utilize all of these backlinks come in, and it's just making better use of that. So those are a few things with backlinks. So that's at the top. We're going to move to log file data, which is all about what Google is actually crawling on your site, which is another key part of your search universe. So episode 2, return of the log files. So with this slide, I think it's just a great demonstration of how you can find absolutely anything on the web. Like, I don't even know how I managed to find this, but yeah, it's amazing. So with this, with log file data, you can actually combine this with web crawling information, and you can see where your crawl budget is being wasted. So you might have log file summary data coming in from logs.io. You might also have access to Screaming Frog or Splunk. So in these examples, you can see you've got bot requests coming into pages which aren't indexable, and that's something that you'd want to clean up, as is demonstrated by this slide. So the cleanup doesn't end there, and another thing that you can do with log file data by integrating that with web crawling data is that you can see where Google is actually looking at pages on your site. And so with this top example, you can see that the sitemap is being crawled regularly, which is great, and the category and product pages, which you probably also want crawled a lot, they're not being crawled quite as much, so that's something that you'd want to look into. And a final thing with log files is that you can understand how bots crawl your site with different user agents, and you can use that to validate your mobile configurations. So with a responsive site, you'd expect Google to come in with both user agents on the same URL and to validate that the same content is returned. With a dynamically served site, you've got the same URL but different HTML, so you'd want to check that Googlebot's going to the desktop version and Googlebot smartphone's going to the mobile version. And a thing that's quite often missed is the vary HTTP header, which says to Google that there are 2 different versions of this HTML. And finally, with a separate mobile site, you need to ensure that Google's crawling the dedicated mobile URLs and validating that that's okay, and also that the content is equivalent between the desktop and mobile sites. So the third piece of the jigsaw is Google Search Console and bringing in SERP data into the mix. So, yeah. So this is a simple URL story with bringing search analytics data from Google Search Console. So you've got traffic coming into a page, but if that page is disallowed, that's no good to you. So what you want to do is consider removing that disallowed tag, and there might be a number of reasons why that's still being indexed. It might be that there are still internal links pointing to that page, and that's sending signals to Google that that page should still be indexed. So that's another thing that you might want to sort out. Poor experience pages with traffic. So with Google Search Console, you might see that you've got a load of clicks coming into a page, but actually the product page the product has actually been permanently discontinued. So that's a really poor user experience, and what you want to do there is consider redirecting to a relevant product, or maybe getting that product back in, I don't know. Image search is something that is often overlooked, and it's a really valuable source of revenue for a lot of companies. So at DeepCrawl, we work with a lot of big companies, and we actually know that one retailer makes 10% of its sales from image search alone. So that's people coming in, you might type in, oh, I want a sofa, and you might look through images of what sofa you want and go through to that page, and if the product's right, then you'll buy it. So the point there is that you want to make sure that all of your images are intact and that they're well optimized with descriptive alt tags. So those are just a few of the benefits of bringing together SERP information, so impressions, click-through rate, and that sort of information, and combining that with insights from a web crawler. So the final part is the consumer, and something which Thomas actually talked about, and not forgetting about the consumer. So it's all well and good knowing what Google sees on your site, but don't forget about the power of consumer, because ultimately it's the consumers that are driving the ROI on your site, not Google. So combining analytics data, that will show you what visitors are seeing on your site and what they're converting on. Now, a simple example of this is, so you've got clicks, you've got traffic coming through to a page, but it's hit a soft 404. So what's happened here is come through to a product page, but there aren't actually any products available on that page. So that's something, it's a really easy cleanup that you can do. So you can, if there aren't any products available there, you can redirect it to maybe a broader search. So if you don't have anything available for the North Face, then you might want to expand it out and, redirect to outdoor jackets or something, I don't know. So a slightly more complicated example. So you've got visits coming into a page, but you see it's no indexed, and it's also got no backlinks. So just using analytics data alone, this would be quite a confusing scenario. But with web crawling data, you can see that you've actually got thousands of backlinks coming into another page, and these are actually going to a redirect page and then going to your destination page. And what's happened here is somebody's messed up with the redirects, the redirection project, and the page is actually in the robots.txt file, and it's been disallowed. And there we go. So what's happened here is, so the page isn't showing in search, the destination page, and you're not actually benefiting from those backlinks. So it's a simple cleanup again, just removing it from the robots.txt file, and you'll be able to benefit from the traffic and those backlinks. So the main message is it's all well and good doing this for one URL. It's perfectly manageable. You can do this just fine. But what happens when you scale up to 100,000 URLs or sites with even 1 million URLs? We work with a number of sites which have maybe 10 million URLs, and it becomes a much bigger beast at that point, and something that you can't manage without the right tools in place. So how do you, this slide is meant to visualize Excel hell. So how do you take it out of the spreadsheets and have a more automated solution which is both robust and scalable enough to deal with sites of this size? Now at DeepCrawl, we believe we've got a great solution to this. We can actually bring in all of these different sources into one place and do that at scale. So what I'd encourage you to do is build out your search universe, find out where these small problems are, and get on to fixing them. So to summarize, bring in backlink data, and that will inform the monitoring and maintenance of your backlink profile. You can also gain sight of how the link equity spreads throughout your site. With log file data, you can look at, is Google looking at the most important pages on my site, or, and how frequently is it looking at them? With search analytics, it's all about integrating in SERP metrics, and something you can do there is identifying poor experience pages or looking at image traffic. And finally, bringing in the consumer and understanding consumer behavior, bringing that all together. So, thank you very much. That's all for me.